We are back with Dr. Rob Pennington, a.k.a. the Upside Down Doctor, and you can find him at upsidedowndoctor.com. Thank you. Dr. Rob, when you and I first met, I first read the book, I was blown away because the rest of the book is vignettes, short stories, talking about bad things that have happened to you. You were fired, the IRS, you were shot, nothing major, you know. But really, the last, or one of the last chapters, The Gift of Giving, is chapter 8. I told you when I first read this, and then I'll read the audience's first line, that's when I realized this was a love story. This book is a love story, and that really struck me. But it wasn't until I read this last chapter. So for my audience, my wife was diagnosed with an incurable illness. As challenging as this was for her, it was also the most significant event that ever happened to me. Let's talk about that, and let's see how that relates back to the stress comment, because I know that you know that stress is a signal that change is needed.
Right.
Let's talk about this.
Okay. For both me and for Claire, one of the things we discovered is that with her multiple sclerosis, when she was under stress, meaning not handling the challenges in her life at the moment, because that's the only time we experience stress. When we're handling the challenges, no stress. So we found that her MS responded very poorly to that.
Let me ask you a question real quick, and excuse me, I apologize for interrupting. Handling and dealing, different, the same? It is? Okay, all right.
So we need to learn how to handle the stress in life. In fact, stress is a signal that we're not doing something, so we need to make a change. And that's good information. That's probably the positive way of looking at stress. So in working with Claire with EMS, we found that it was helpful to do things to reduce stress that helped her with her symptoms. But we also discovered challenges in our relationships that got more intense because of the stress and the fear and the worry. Now, we both knew this is part of what was going to be dealt with in our marriage because she was diagnosed a year before we got married. So we went in there with an awareness of that. It didn't make the challenges any easier. It just allowed us maybe to be more committed. So in one way, what I learned is I needed to differentiate between what my requirements are in a relationship and what my preferences are. Because we got into a lot of arguments about preferences, you know, like whether the toilet paper rolls this way or that way, or whether you squeeze the toothpaste at the end or the middle. And when I got clear about my requirements, I realized there were just a couple, you know, that we're going to be monogamous, that we're going to look at what we have to do with our responsibility for our emotions. We're going to get counseling or coaching if we needed it. And everything else was just a preference. I mean, I don't go to war over preferences. And that made a profound difference for me. I was able to see her differently. So when she was hurting or angry and telling me that she didn't love me and she wanted a divorce, it took me a long time to realize that that was because she was afraid I was going to leave her.
And how long, I mean, from the time that you got married, how long did it take for you to go through this process?
About 10 years.
Okay, all of it. Okay, all of it. Wow.
You know, we were married for 30 years.
Okay.
So we made a...
All right. So fair to say this is not a short term.
No, I think, in a way, the purpose
It wasn't a year or 2 or 3.
No, the purpose of marriage is to discover all the ways in which you don't love each other.
Okay.
It's going to happen. So let's make it a purpose. So when it happens, then I realize I'm limited in my ability to love in this moment. What do I need to do? What do I need to learn? That was an important part of it. I mean, as Claire had more difficulties and she needed more help, she had a great stress about that because she was afraid needing help meant something bad about her. And I discovered I have the same feeling. I had difficulty asking for help or paying someone to help me in my business. Somehow I just didn't feel like I should do it all myself. And I was harming my own success. She was harming her own success. But she made that change before I did. And she actually learned to be extremely grateful. And she was very appreciative every day of those who were around and supporting her during her need. And it made a difference for me. I mean, that book is an example of me asking for help, of getting someone to do the design, of helping me do the editing, of having friends help me let people know about it. You know, that's a blessing that came out of the struggle of our marriage and our relationship because of the illness that she had. So that's the message of the book, is that there are challenges in life, but every one of them brings opportunities as well. And the faster we can see that, the quicker we can discover the opportunity. We've all heard, you know, when a door closes, a window opens. But what we don't know is that in between that, you have to make a change to see that window. It's just not there. You've got to look for it to find it.